Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 6th November 2020. The first article for discussion is The Forgotten Fact of China-Occupied Kashmir. If you see today's Jammu and Kashmir, a part of it is in the control of India, a part of it in the control of Pakistan, which we call it as Pak-occupied Kashmir, and a small part of it is in the control of China. One is Aksai Chin region, which was occupied by China in 1962 war, and second important region is Shaksgan Valley. This particular valley was gifted to China by Pakistan. So this article explains the historical facts behind this particular valley and why it has to be considered as part of India. Let us clearly understand one thing. Though Pakistan has given this valley to China, it is still provisional. The reason is, pending the Kashmir settlement, nothing of that sort agreement becomes valid internationally. So, Xinjiang province is the closest province to Jammu and Kashmir. Initially, the Xinjiang province is up to Kunlun mountain ranges. Later, slowly it extended up to Shaksgan Valley. And today Aksai Chin region is also part of it. Because of Shaksgan Valley and Aksai Chin being under control of China, China has got access to Tibet. So, they are strategically important for China. Initially, as I said to you, up to Kunlun mountains, China has sovereignty. The region after that, they are Hanzas. It was ruled by a Mir. He is called Mir of Hanza. He was under the control of China, suzerainty of China. Then Britishers made an agreement that Mir Hanza will be freed from the suzerainty of China, and Tag Dambash and Raksam ranges, these two are valleys, will be given for China. So these two, Tag Dambash, Raksam, these will be given to China. But that particular thing, agreement, did not talk about Shaksgam Valley. It means this Shaksgam Valley, it is under the control of the king of Jammu and Kashmir. So accession of Kashmir to India automatically also has to accede Shaksgam Valley. So Pakistan giving out the Shaksgam Valley to China is an issue of sovereignty for India. So India need to pursue this particular China-occupied Kashmir as part of its pursuit towards the entire region of the Kashmir. That is the emphasis of this article. Next is arresting Arnab. Many of the BJP leaders stated that arresting Mr. Arnab Goswami is violation of freedom of press. Let us not get into the politics of it. If any case need to be investigated, an accused can be arrested in that case, and this particular arrest is called remand. Why remand of an individual has to be taken? 1. He may tamper the evidence. 2. He can threaten the other people, or he can obstruct the investigation one or the other possible way by evading from the investigative authorities. He can flee from the country. When no such conditions exist, there is no point in arresting an individual. That is the first reason. Second thing is, when clearly established that he is against the state and expressing the opinions against the state, if he is arrested, it sends a message of retribution. In a democracy, sense of retribution being built in the minds of the people will have various effects, counter effects. So you have arrested our boy, we will get your boy arrested tomorrow. Effects and counter effects leads to a sense of loss of freedoms to the citizens. So that is what this article is expressing. Next is Vienna's woes. Recently, terror attack happened in Austria's capital, Vienna. Now let us see what are the points we can take towards fighting terrorism. Three important points spoken in this article are: there has to be united front to fight terrorism. It means if divides are created in the name of religion, political leaders are trying to exploit those divides to their advantages. Obviously, fight against terrorism cannot be united. Islamophobia is created by various right-wing leaders like Maria Le Pen and Hungarian Austrian leaders. And this kind of divides will not give a strong fight to terrorism. Second, counter radicalization. So, providing for the various values of pluralism, secularism, and then using knowledge and information shall waive or provide a route for counter radicalization. So, long term solution for fighting terrorism is building in the values of secularism and pluralism. The next article is political takeaways from the Bihar campaign. What people expect from every election: a new party and a leadership has to come up. They have to solve their issues, needs, and fulfill their dreams. So the election campaigns are expected to revolve around that. If you take Obama's campaign, what he stated: hope. And if you talk about Mr. Trump's campaign, making America great again. So if you observe these two, the Trump's campaign is more revolving around fear, and Obama's campaign was revolving around hope. So a positive phenomenon of hope will always make a difference. Second, development, employment, progress, these need to be stressed in the elections rather than religious, regional, and other divides. In this context, the greatest political takeaway is Indian elections revolve around identities rather than the issues of development. Coming to Bihar, more than 57% of the population is below 25 years. If any state has the maximum demographic dividend, then we can state it as Bihar. So, Bihar has to ensure that proper development and youth energies are used for this purpose. Do recent indicators hint at a real economic revival? Yes, there are signs of economic revival because it is not just for 1 month, it is September, October, and even in November we are seeing an economic growth. The Purchase Managers Index, added to that automobile sales, all these indicate the same. Some people argue that it is due to pent up demand and festive season. But there is also a reason to celebrate that we have some unlock devices working. In this case, let us see what the government has to do. What are the pessimistic signs of this revival? Even today, certain sectors are not out from lockdown and the fear of COVID-19, especially hospitality, travel, construction sector, which are labor intensive service sectors. These are not revived till date. Second is, the fiscal space for the government to operate is very less. Investments are still low. Whatever the government benefits which are being offered, they are meant to boost the consumer demand, but investment flows are still very low. Banking sector is structurally weak to encourage the investments in the economy. The structural weakness did not come with COVID-19 and did not go with COVID-19. So working on these structural weaknesses is very important. And if you take steel, paintings, all these have GST of 28%. So we need to decrease the GST on these goods so that the demand can pick up. Second thing is, whenever there is recession kind of environment, investment in infrastructure and healthcare sector which can yield long-term dividends is very important. India can take up that. Close to 5 lakh crore rupees is stuck with government of India. These are the payments to be made to the states, to various people who have provided various services to the union government. If these payments are released, that itself brings in lot of money into the economy. So these are the steps recommended in this article. The crucial expertise of CAPFs. Central Armed Police Forces, or we call it as paramilitary forces, they are not just maintaining the order, and they are also very useful during the emergencies. ITBP, National Disaster Response Force, which is part of taken from CRPF, all these have shown remarkable work, remarkable commitment during the COVID-19. So NDRF's utility is bound to increase in the coming days. So better it need to be upgraded and expanded. India's election experience is a good sign. Chief Election Commissioner. Chief Election Commissioner has took a bold step to conduct the elections in Bihar, and this has paved dividends. Let us see the statement. The elections have turned out to be a leap of faith and not a leap in the fire. It means they turned out to be good rather than burning the hands. That is what CEC is talking about. Coming to United States of America elections, as more and more mail-in votes are being counted, Mr. Joe Biden is expected to be the next president of USA. In this case, yesterday I told to you that lack of centralized single structure to monitor and frame the rules with regard to elections is creating all the crisis in America. And second thing is, Mr. Trump wants to create legal hurdles for Biden to take up the office. And prematurely before the votes are counted, Trump declared himself as elected, and he is accusing his opponents for snatching away the presidency from him, office from him. So see, Mr. Trump has clearly stated that he is not going to accept the outcomes if he did not win the election. So I think America will withstand this crisis too, because no other election in America is as divisive as like this. So thank you very much. Have a great day.